Hi, it's me, Dave Crane. I'm actually at the Palacio de Santana. I probably said it wrong. And this is in Madrid. Now, this is one of the best kept palaces in all of Europe. Now, let me show you around here. Can you see how beautiful this is? And also, if you have a look at the ceiling, you got vertigo. Let me just turn it that way so you can see how ornate this place truly is. This place is incredible. The history of it is a nobleman came in and he wanted to join the royal family status. So the way he did that was you ended up with they counted the amount of horses that you had. And if you had 8 horses pulling your wagon and it was a top quality horse, then they saw you as being a very rich person like one of the royals. If you had a little fat bloke with a beard going, oh my back, pulling your wagon, you weren't seen as rich as the royals. But every single story here, every single room is done specifically to change the way that people view the world. And it's now owned by the Chamber of Commerce and it's hired out commercially. But if you get a chance to have a look in here, it's just something very special. And the M that you might be able to see up there, the M stands for me. How did we know I was coming? Bizarre, isn't it? So I've got my very good friends here. Say hello. These are some of the most famous speakers in the world, and you may see them. If they say hello to you and introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Asmina Jiwa. So happy to be here.
And I'm Maxine King, enjoying this splendor.
Hey there, Gunther Mueller, the Vibrant Health Guru.
I'm Dr. Kara Scott Ditley. Thank you for tuning in.
See, I told you I've got good friends. These are super quality people. If you Google them, find them on LinkedIn, connect with them because they are absolutely amazing. Meanwhile, I'm going to walk around and just get some more footage and enjoy the experience. And if you want to see if I'm telling you the truth, Google this place, Palacio de Santana. I'm not going to spell it for you, but it's worth a lot of scrabble. Be good. Bye. Look at this. Bye. Hello. Hi. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. It doesn't really matter. The fact is we're here now. My name is Dave Crane. Welcome to Speak on Stage. I've been a busy boy. Yesterday, I had a show all lined up for you, but it was very exciting. And we had some technical issues. I went live and it cut out, the internet cut out. And what happens with the internet when it cuts out is it doesn't normally just cut out. What it does is it starts freezing. So I go... And it's just a waste of time. So I'm monitoring it as I'm going out. I'm just thinking, oh, this is really painful. So I stopped. I did it again. And it was even worse. I mean, the little thing that came up that said, your internet is a little unstable. I'm thinking, you tell me now. Because I always check before a broadcast. I also spend time cleaning everything out. Because I'm broadcasting from an old Mac. Which isn't a guy who's, called Mr. McDonald who's just sat there going, oh, please, press my nose. There you go, there's your broadcast. It's an old Apple Mac. I say old, it's about 6 years old. And it worked a perfect treat for just being able to go and do gigs all around the world. And just playing out PowerPoints and video and so on. But this is a big job to broadcast from this. And it's doing a great job. But sometimes if you don't free it and get rid of all the extra stuff that's been running at the back of it, because I do a lot of presentations, make a lot of videos, editing, all this stuff, then it can go, I'm tired now, I don't want to play. I'm not going to give it any. Ka-ching. You don't deserve anything but stress. Ah! So there we go. If you're watching me, you could be watching me on YouTube. You could be watching me on LinkedIn. Could be on Facebook. It could be on Twitter through Periscope. And it could be on Instagram. Whatever the format is, it's nice to see you. And it's a pleasure to have you with me. As always, please comment. It makes a lot of difference to me. It makes me feel good. And also means that we've got a global community. Let me know where you're calling from. And if you've got any questions, then let me know as well. I love your comments as we go. Yesterday, it was a show all about Batman. I was very excited because this is what it was going to look like.
You underestimated me.
I underestimate nothing.
Whoa! How was that? How exciting was that to see? Yes, I know. And you're watching it and thinking, oh my goodness, Dave, why can't we have that show? Well, you could have had. I actually did it on the afternoon, and in the middle of doing it, it just cut off again. So I carried on anyway, restarted everything, and it was a little bit challenging. Was I angry? No. Yes. No. That show's fuming. But the thing is, yesterday's show was how to think like Batman, so you don't get wound up by stuff and you stay cool, calm and collected and get stuff done. So, do I get angry? Yeah, I do. Do I get upset? Yeah. Does a lockdown affect me as well? Quite a bit. But the bottom line is that when it comes down to it, what's the point in fretting? What's the point in worrying about what happened yesterday? I can't go back. I don't have a time machine. We lost a lot of people watching it because eventually, as much as people love watching the show, they're going, oh, I'm just going to cough for a while, they said. No, I said, oh, I'm going to leave it. You know what? I really like you, Dave. You're making me money, but I've got other things to do, like stare at the wall. Aragon. My poster of Strider up there from Lord of the Rings. Stolen his horse. I've had that picture now for probably about 10 years. Movie came out, can you believe this? You know when the movie came out, Lord of the Rings, Return of a King, which was a third of the movies. 2003, 17 years old. The third one was 17 years old today. 17th of December, well, not today. Okay, so today's show is really interesting. It's called this, How to Make Killer Content, and it's based on how you can generate stuff that makes people want to watch it and interact with it and read it and listen to it, because I think we've had a world before where we used to have everything fed to us by the TV stations and the radio stations who would say, and magazines and newspapers, do you remember them? Magazines and newspapers? Paper touching that other people had touched? And basically it was people who said, we know more than you what you should be watching, so this is the TV show. And when you're as old as me, what used to happen was you'd sit there and supposing you wanted to watch a movie, so it had a movie like Caddyshack on starring Bill Murray, and that's coming on tonight at 9 o'clock. Sorry, the news is at 9 o'clock, it'll come on at 9:25 after the news. So you're waiting for a load of TV stuff. So after you're having your dinner, around about say 6 o'clock in my house, I don't know how you got in my house, and I'm surprised my dad didn't say get out, or my mum said you should have said you were coming, in which case we would have made some more food. Why are you staring at Dave's plate? The fact he's 7 years old and can't fight his own way back means that you shouldn't pick on him. He's only a child. One day, right now, he's stressed. My gold bar for stressing. I know you didn't go back to my house, I'm just saying. In those days, 6 o'clock, you'd sit there having a dinner. We didn't actually eat in the living room. We'd eat in the dining room, which was like the kitchen. So we'd sit there in the dining area, go, how are you? Good. How is your school? Good. I never said that. Well, you did. Yeah, ask your child, how was school? It was all right. That's all you ever get. And you're thinking, right, in my case, I'm paying a fortune for this. Why are you going to this school and saying it was only all right? And I say, well, it was all right today. It was all right yesterday. It'll be all right tomorrow. What do you want to hear? I want to hear that you're going to invent something that's going to make me a ton of money. Don't just tell me about it being all right. So anyway, we'd finished having our food, and then we'd go through to the living room, and we'd sit down, and we all had our own chairs. My dad would have the big chair in front of the TV. My mum would have the chair on the other side of the room, facing the TV. We'd be on the sofa, and we were like the Simpsons, because there's three of us, and a dog. Usually a dog in my life in some capacity. And now, because I've only got one kid, I've got two dogs. So I've got three kids, effectively. They're not kids. I know they're not kids. One is. She's allowed to stay. The others are kind of keep me company, because some days they're the only ones that talk to me. So anyway, we sat there watching TV, and we'd have to endure the local news, regional news. Then it would go to the national news. Then it would go to some TV program that they deemed we should be watching after the news, all about, have you seen the new technology? Or did you know that this is the best way to be able to do your carpet? Or something. And then you'd have some fun program like Top of the Pops, which is all pop music, which would get me going, but that was once a week. The rest of the time you'd have some sitcom that came on where you'd just be going, and people would be laughing, but nobody in our house would laugh, because all the jokes were kind of not just lame, but almost offensive and lame. In fact, the first few years of me growing up, there were loads of anti-black racist jokes that people thought were hilarious. Well, not if you're black. And not if you're a kid at school and people will tell the jokes to you at your face when you're a kid. And you're expected to go, ha ha, it's okay. It's not okay then. It's not okay now. So anyway, before I get too deep and too much into that, which I should do really, because that's one day what we'll talk about, but today we're not going to. So then you've got the sitcom, which can't be shown nowadays because it's just too horribly racist and sexist and homophobic as well. And then you'd have some American TV show like Starsky and Hutch, or something that was really cool and groovy, with lots of cars chasing and people go pew 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 pew, and sometimes they'd have guns, so they'd shoot them properly, but the ones that went pew 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 usually got killed, because you can't stop somebody just going pew pew. And I actually met Hutch, David Soul. I met him for dinner in Dubai a couple of years ago. And tell you what, it was really surreal. Myself and my bro, Darius Sudi, we sat down with him and chatted away to David Soul. And we're saying, you mega star, because in those days in the 70s, there was no internet, no nothing. So if you're on TV in the 70s, Charlie's Angels, $6 Million Man, Starsky and Hutch, any of those shows, Rockford Files, you were seen as one of the world's biggest stars, and you probably were, because every network was showing this content. And I said to Hutch, well, David Soul, this is real life, when did those shows actually air? And he said something like 1975. So he sat with there a couple of years ago, sat with me. It was like 40 years plus, that long, almost 50 years plus, since those shows were on TV. Wow, really sobering thought, which just shows how old I am. I must have been like 40 years plus. So moving on, so you'd have to wait until your show came on much, much later. And that's the way it was. That's why I'm talking about all this stuff. So the content that you generate is much easier. All you have to do is create stuff that people want. And the best content creators, in my opinion, are these guys. These guys create content every single day. And the importance of this is not just because it's funny, it's informative, but also they become a conscience of the world. Not just a nation, but the world. So everything they put on to the normal channels go onto YouTube afterwards, and we can watch them like moments after and go, yeah, he's right, he's right. And so it still delivers American content everywhere. But the beauty of these guys is they will rip into any politics that they see in front of them that they don't think is correct. So whoever's in charge, they will jump on them, and they'll take the mickey out of them, and they'll do what they believe is right. But what you find is it allows you to breathe easy, because the news channels carry so much propaganda, right and wrong, right and left. Anyway, carries lots of propaganda. You're not sure who's right, who's wrong, because there's always a spin. I used to work for the BBC. I was a news reporter for the BBC, and we had to take a neutral stance on everything. We weren't allowed to put our own political biases into anything. Our job is literally to hold up a mirror. That's not a mirror, excuse me. Got it! There's a fruit fly in the office. Sorry, I just pressed the wrong button. There you go, back again. There's a fruit fly in the office, and I know you shouldn't kill a fly, but all the way through that episode, earlier when I was just setting everything up, it just decided to target my face. So I'm just setting everything up, I'm kind of going... And I did give it plenty of opportunity to disappear, and then it landed underneath my brick. And I realised that there's some animal rights people who are just saying, Dave, you have just ruined it for me. I used to believe you're a good person, and now, despite everything, we know that you're a fly killer, a fruit fly killer. And we're going to tell all the fruit flies, and they're going to come back. I don't care what you think, because the fruit fly is really annoying me, and it would have annoyed you as well. What if it got up my nose in the middle of broadcast? Or in my mouth? Be like that scene from Raiders of the Lost Ark, where the baddie, Belloc, is talking to, Mr. Jones, you'll see, come down, you will not destroy this ark. You want to see as much as I do, Mr. Jones. You are curious. And as he's talking, his fly goes in his mouth. And he just carries on talking, it just disappears. Then later on, he couldn't spit it out, because obviously he carried on talking. And it's an incredible scene where it just goes to show that method acting, his character probably would have ate a fly. Wouldn't have hurt a fly, probably wouldn't have killed that fruit fly, but he would have killed like several million people and brought on the apocalypse. So maybe me killing that fly, it's about right. Wow, that was the world's longest monologue. I don't even know what I was talking about. Welcome to Speak on Stage. My name is Dave Crane. As always, it's a pleasure to have you with me. I'm just hoping that we don't cut off today. If we do cut off, don't go anywhere. Just look in your feed to see if I come back. Now, if you're connected to me on LinkedIn, then you'll see Dave Crane is live. If you're on YouTube, you'll see it. Subscribe with me, and then you'll see Dave Crane is live. And the same for Twitter, the same for Facebook. It will pop up. If you're not connected to me and you haven't subscribed or added me as a friend or connected or followed, then you'll never know when I come back again. You'll just be hoping like that. Where's Dave gone? Where's Dave? because I'm full of wind. So I want to share with you about content creation, because content creation is what I was getting around to when I was talking about my news and so on, because now you can create content that you love for anybody who's interested in that stuff, and you can get it straight to them directly, and then they will follow you. Everybody now, through the beauty of being able to broadcast, and with the right presentation skills, can become a very effective broadcaster and a little mini broadcasting house. You can be a media house that gets your content very niche to the people who want that niche. Or niche, if you're American. It's got an E on the end. It's French. Niche. Did I spit as well? It wasn't a fly. Didn't eat it. So next up, we're going to look at Tim Ferris, who's the author of the 4-Hour Work Week. Really interesting speaker. Really interesting guy. Fascinating. You should read his books. And also the something else. He's done a couple of other books you should see. But meanwhile, he's talking about how he creates content, and you should watch it because I think it's very cool. And that's up next on Speak on Stage.
There are many different approaches to making content, and I'm very often asked, how do you create content that is popular, that will be popular? And I don't think that's a very good question to start with. In fact, I think you should ask yourself, first and foremost, why do you create content? So there are many potential answers to this. What I would consider a bad answer is to get likes and favorites and subscribers. That is an intermediate step, and you can get trapped in what I would consider, and other people like Eric Ries might call, vanity metrics. All right, you're chasing metrics because they're highly coveted by many people. We're only looking at the symptoms of potential success, i.e. the likes and so on, but not looking at the ultimate objective. So what might a good objective be? A good objective might be, I'm creating content to determine or hone in, specifically target my 1,000 true fans. So if you read one article on content creation or marketing, I would make it 1,000 True Fans by Kevin Kelly, to determine who my diehard fans are, whose behaviors, beliefs, likes, dislikes, I understand because I'm part of that market, whatever niche it is. Even if it's a 1 in a million niche, that can still be a sizable audience. You could have some type of social agenda. So I want to not appeal to all of the readers, listeners in the world, but instead I want to actively call and filter my audience so that only the people I want to connect with directly actually wade through. Okay, these are very real, tangible, measurable outcomes. And I would encourage you to think about what you want to do with your content. What do you want to achieve beyond what we would consider vanity metrics, right? And there are some vanity metrics that can be converted into dollars. If you're an Instagram celebrity, or you are interested in becoming one, and you know that if you have 1 million plus subscribers, or you have a few million, that you can earn $50,000 to $70,000 per promoted post, okay, that is an objective. It's an objective also dependent on a lot of variables you don't control. I remember talking to someone who had a very successful content-based business built on Facebook. As he said, it's like having the most profitable McDonald's in the world built on top of a volcano. And you don't know when it's going to erupt. So my preferences are always clear objective, what you want to achieve, perhaps, can be financially driven, that's fine. I don't consider fame in and of itself to be a very useful objective, and there are a lot of downsides to that. Then you have identifying your 1,000 true fans. And I will tell you right now that if you try to make something that appeals to everyone, if you try to make something that everyone will like, it will be something that no one loves. All right, so you want to first identify the 1,000 diehards. Once you have your diehard true believers, they are your strongest unpaid marketing force. They will then recruit your casual listeners, casual readers, and widen out the concentric circles of your access. So you start with 1,000 people and you end up with a readership of 1 million or 3 million or 10 million. And that's exactly what's happened with me. And I began in a very narrow niche. And then over time, as I built a larger readership, expanded topically, but I didn't begin with a wide variety of topics. This is really, really important point. Do you enjoy it? In other words, do you have a deep attraction to a given format so that you will have the endurance necessary to get through all the trials and tribulations and learning hurdles to build a large audience. If not, choose a different approach because you will fail otherwise. With all of this, I encourage you to think about the long game and ask yourself, if I were in this for the long game, if I commit, this is not a 3-month endeavor, it is a minimum 3-year commitment to mastering this craft, how does that change your decisions? And what does the path potentially look like? It doesn't mean you have to be wedded to a 3-year plan, but it means that at least you are committed to doing the thought exercise of putting it down on paper and specking out what it might look like. So if you want to not just create popular content that is ephemeral and disappears like the flicker of a firefly in the internet landscape, then if you want to convert your efforts into a sustainable career with fans who will take a bullet for you and travel with you wherever you go, you have to think about it differently. Do not get caught up in the vanity metrics, and ask why, ask so what, ask and then what, for what, many, many, many times. And challenge not only your own assumptions, but the assumptions of other people who give you advice. So feel free to completely disagree with what I say. However, recognize that my beliefs and tenets that I follow are born of many experiments over a long period of time. So if you're going to disagree, guess what? Those are hypotheses you have to test. And it is through the testing that you will find your own unique path.
Welcome back to Speak on Stage. I'm Dave Craner. One thing you probably realised is that Tim Ferris talked quite a lot, but he's also brilliant. Read his books, he's fantastic. Now, I went to flick that dead fly, and it flew away. It was faking it, or it's a zombie fly. So now we face a challenge, which is it could be at any point in this broadcast looking for revenge. So if I go like that, you'll know I wasn't dancing, it was a fly. So today's all about this. It's all about how to create killer content that people would be really interested in using and generating and moving forward. We also talked about late night talk show hosts because I will feature their stuff in more detail in a later show because I really do think that what they generate is fascinating because they're kind of like the what do you call it, the lifeblood and the conscience of everybody who's watching news. And they're interesting, especially when they went into lockdown, because the shows are very similar to this in the fact that, apart from they were funny, they're down to oh, excuse me, that's the breakfast going, I want to come out! Back to basics, but their broadcastability was down to them and a small team creating really interesting content. We'll be doing some content creation a little bit later, or at least I'll tell you the parameters of what you need. But what I'm going to do now is spend some time working with you on the 8 clever ways to triple your content output and your traffic. Now, you might have your own particular niche or your own particular niche, as I said, the area that you want to concentrate on, that's fine. We're not going to work on that right now. When I work with people on their industry icon program, I find out what their niche is, and most of the time they've got it wrong, and they're wondering why it's not catching on, because you're just doing the wrong thing to the wrong people. Not even doing it because they believe in it, they're doing it because they think it's shiny. And sometimes they go, well, you know, cake making. Cake making's really popular. Yeah, no, cake making's really popular. Who do you want to do it for? Spot welders. Why? Because I'm a spot welder. So how are you going to cook the cake? With my spot welding gear. What about an oven? Oven? So you've got to make sure that whatever they're working on is the right one. And most people get it completely wrong. We will do that at some point, but to save time, then you just get into it properly. So here we got a couple of tips that will really boost your content. First of all, number 1, and you're writing a blog, and lots of people write blogs, get your content and turn it into an infographic. What's an infographic? It's when you have boxes and it's like a mind map of things that follow with lots of stats and lots of bits and pieces. People love them. If you can generate one that's a copy of the content that's in your blog and make it a separate blog or put it in your blog or put it out separately, you can link it to your blog. People love that and they follow it. So that infographic stuff is always really useful. There's lots of ones you can copy, and you can also get somebody, say from Fiverr or Freelancer, to make it for you, and it'll cost you $5. Okay, number 2, turn your blog post into a YouTube video. Once you've created your content, talk about it. Talk about it and then embed that onto your blog as another post or on the same one. Number 3, So these are all ways of getting other people to see your stuff, by the way, who might not have seen the original content. Number 3, turning your blog posts into slide decks. Let me just give a quick swig of. Oh, hot, toothless, and it's not gadget. Hiccup. I was so close. And a cup of tea. If you've got your cup of tea, then cheers. And if you haven't got a cup of tea, you're probably going, Dave, stop drinking tea because you're not fair when you've got tea. Yes, it's not fair. But life's like that. Sometimes Dave has tea. So number 3, turn your blog post into slide decks. If you go to slideshare.com, which is part of LinkedIn, you can get all your stuff and post it on there. Now, I tested it a little while ago, and I stopped doing it after a while because I got bored. But I wrote out 100 articles on LinkedIn over 100 days. And to turn them into slide decks, all I did was get PowerPoint and cut and paste the text until I had it all on the PowerPoint. And then I posted that. And when I posted it, I dominated for the first, I think it was the first 9 pages of SlideShare, which is LinkedIn's buddy, because it's owned by LinkedIn. I dominated the first 9 pages just with my PowerPoints. It was bizarre. And then after that, I got bored, so I took it all down. And then somebody copied my way of doing it, and then they started getting up there, blah, 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 blah. And I just didn't want to fight back. I just wanted to prove a point, which I did. And I stopped writing blog posts, and then that's history. So you can also just get your content as is, and just cut and paste it into a PowerPoint. You want to make it more groovy, then add some more, like a picture or something like that, or some diagrams, but you don't have to. You can still rank on it, because nobody tries to use SEO or rank on there. It's very easy to do it. Number 4, turn your posts into audio. How? Well, you either read them, so you can turn them into a podcast, or you get software that dictates it, and you can get a ton of different things that do them in different accents, or translates it. You have a woman, or a man, or, well, not a cat, but you know what I mean. And it will just literally go all the way through your content and give you an audio back if you don't feel that you like your voice. If your voice is a little bit, yeah, I'm irritating, nobody likes me, I'm not making money because my voice is really well, you wouldn't press that if you're not making money. If you got one of those voices, but you'd be surprised. Here's the thing, if you're great at content and you're really producing something that people will want, don't disappoint them. Unless your voice is so bad or you sound like a serial killer, I'm going to kill you. Please enjoy my cakes. Then you really should just be you. You don't have to be a genius. You don't have to be a radio voice. You don't have to have any of those skills because people don't care. It's different. I remember when I first started working for the BBC, they'd made a deliberate change. Excuse me. Wait for it. Wait. Excuse me. I'm sorry, most of it went on there. I'll get that later. So they made a deliberate choice that we're not going to have people working for the BBC who sound like they've got a plum in their mouth. Hello, welcome to the World Service. This is the BBC. I went to a really good school, and as a result of that, you didn't, so you should listen to me because I'm much more important than you are. And if you look at early BBC, it was like that, but then they realised that people who don't come from the south of England are going, I don't want to watch this. It don't sound like me. I sound like this. I come from north. And I come from north. And so what we decided to do is start using regional accents over posh accents. And it made a big difference because people felt that they had a relationship with the BBC because those people are just the same as me. This is important. That fact you are the same as me is why people would want to have you, real person, and not just some kind of supermodel decoy. If you are a supermodel and a decoy, then it's even better. But they're quite happy to go, they're a little bit ugly. I kind of like that. That's why you're watching me. A little bit ugly. And that's also true for advertising. Nowadays, people say that they prefer to see an advert with real people in it than somebody who's quite clearly a model family. Everyone sits there, ding, teeth are gleaming, ding, eyes gleaming, ding. How are you, mummy? I'm good. How are you? Great. How was school? It was wonderful. What about you, daddy? Let's go play football. The same voice, same person, and he's got glasses and a beard. The whole family. Okay, so anyway, turn your posts into audio. That's what I was trying to say. Number 5 is this one. Turn several blog posts into a white paper. A white paper is something that you can turn into an ebook and get out to people, so you can make it as an authority. So if you've written a couple of different blog posts on a certain subject and it really has interest for people, put a couple together, make them into chapters, not a proper big ebook, and ebooks don't have to have any particular length, by the way. Then you can put that together and instantly you've got a ton more content, and you can have people write in for that, you can have people go to a certain place for that, you can challenge people to have to do stuff like tweet your content to get access to your white paper. Very good. Number 6, syndicate existing content on external networks. So you, when you've already got tons of content and you've written it on one thing like Medium, or you've written it on your blog, you can also send people to your blog by writing a little summary of it and putting it on LinkedIn or onto Instagram with a picture of you saying, I just wrote this. Why am I pointing at my name? I just wrote my name, speak on stage, live. My name's not live. So you can do it to get people to go from one side to the other. And once you've got that ability to start sending them around, then it gets really interesting as to the options that you can use it for. Number 7, post excerpts on Q&A sites. So Q&A sites like Quora, Quora, where we just ask questions and answer them all the time. If you've got stuff that is an answer, you can put that on Quora. So why do you bake cakes using a welding torch? I do it because it's something that makes me feel happy, and also because I really, really like badly burnt cakes. And you can say, I wrote all about that. Have a look at my blog, and you can do your blog on badly burnt cakes with your welding mask. Take it up and go, haha, this is me. Then pull it down when the police come over to get you for maltreating cake. Okay, and number 8, the final point in this is extend existing content with interviews. So when you have something that you've written, like a blog post on, why am I talking about welding cakes? Supposing you've done welding cakes, why not talk to the local cake shop lady, usually a lady, but could be a man, about their strategy on making cakes? What, like putting all the ingredients together properly, putting it in an oven, getting it out of the oven, slicing it up properly, putting it into nice packaging, put a price next to it, and leave it on the shelves in the cooler so people can see it. Yeah, but it's not very burnt, is it? No, it's not burnt at all. And how many do you sell? All of them. Well, how many do you sell? No, I can't even eat it. It's burnt. So those are 8 different strategies that you can use for boosting the amount of content that gets taken up by people and they want to do stuff with. Next up, we're going to go down to the bottom line of who's your target audience, how do you connect with them, how do you make the relationship even better, and also how you can monetize that. That's up next on Speak on Stage. And I love your feedback, by the way. Keep sending it in. Keep saying hi. Not just hi, but say interesting things like, hi, how are you? Dave. Wait. Yeah, I know. I thought it was longer. That's what all the girls say. No, I thought the break was... No girls that married. I thought the break was going to be longer, okay? I thought it'd be about 30 seconds, something like that. Enough time for a swig. I'll be all right when we come back, and I can be all professional. Hi, welcome back to Speak on Stage. My name's Dave Crane. We're going to share some time now talking about generating killer content that sells. And I couldn't because you caught me with my fingers in the cookie jar of drinking tea during your show. The fly! I swallowed, didn't you? Why can't you say something? Dave, that fly just got in your mouth. It must have been sat on your teacup. Revenge of the killer fly. Right then, number 1, how to generate killer content that sells. Kill a fly and let it come back as a zombie and fire into your mouth while you're doing a broadcast. And it's live, so you can't say bad words. I hate you, fly, wherever you are. You're a fly. That translates to fly languages. You're a trumpet. Right then, number 1, what and who and where is your target market? Who are you aiming this at? You're creating content, but you need to know who it's for before you do it. That's the first thing that came out of Tim Ferriss's mouth when he was talking about it, apart from, hi, I'm Tim Ferris. Actually, I don't think he said that. So before you generate content, don't just generate it because you like it, because it doesn't mean anybody else is going to like it. It's going to be passionate. It's going to be about the stuff that you love, but you don't write it for you, because if you're going to write it for you, why write it at all? Nobody will watch it. Nobody will read it. Nobody will listen to it. It'll stay inside your head. And you'll be really fascinated and really entertained, but you'll earn no money and you have to live in it means a trash bin if you come from the UK. So that's what you're going to work out. Number two, when you've got these people and you work out who they are, then what is a problem that they need solving? For me, I teach presentation skills, I teach public speaking, I teach branding and marketing, I teach how to get yourself online to do a show like this. So that's the problem. People who don't have a way of getting out and they want a really cheap way of doing it or a more cost-effective way of doing it, they come to me. They watch the show. People want to be entertained because they're just going, on LinkedIn, I'm bored. I'm sick of reading stuff from life coaches. How to be happier. Okay. How to file your documents in a way that your office will run better. Okay. How to get your mindset right. Did you know it's all your fault? Life is your fault, so you need to do something about it rather than blaming everybody else. Okay. And then they go, there's Dave Crane. Wow, he's really entertaining and he eats flies live on his show. That's going to be worth some money. Only if you can sell half digested fly. You had a twin. Flies. So, anyway, what's the problem that you're fixing for people and how are you going to fix it is the question number 3. What's the best solution for fixing this problem? Because if you're not fixing their problem, why are you doing it? If you're not, everyone's going to say, what's in it for me? So you have to say, this is in it for you. Look, gold. It's not a squeeze toy, it's a real, heavy gold. Look at that. Whoa. That's yours, what you get when you make ka-ching, ka-ching. And that's what I'm going to fix for you. That's why I'm doing my show. That's why I'm doing my content. That's why I'm writing this incredible documentation about how you go from A to B in the cake making industry if you like really hot and possibly singed cakes. It's a theme I'm not going to let go of. I don't care what you think. So then you go to the next thing, which is who's going to pay for all this and how are you paying for it? Are you paying out your own budget? Or are you going to leverage your time? So you put a lot of time into it, a lot of energy. You learn how to do really effective blog posts and how to use all the technology. Before I went to do this show, I spent about, let's see, myself and Ernesto were doing the toilet paper diaries for about 4 months before I started doing this. I did actually broadcast before. Well, I didn't broadcast, I was doing videos. And I did a TV show called Turbocharge Your Brand TV about 15 years ago, interviewing big stars and so on. So I had some experience in it, but not the new technology of going live and putting yourself on PowerPoints and all that. I learned to do it while watching Ernesto do the toilet paper diaries, and then I took about 6 weeks off to just program the technology and learn and look at a lot of different platforms. And eventually, when I felt I was ready, I started broadcasting. And because I learned to do that, I can do it every day, as I do for you. And as I'm doing it every day, I'm also able to generate great content and really interesting stuff. So I'm broadcast for about an hour every single day. And so far, we've got to 37 minutes. Can you believe time goes past when you're having fun? Are you having fun? Are you? Go on, tell me, please. Really good. All right. So who's going to pay for it? Have you got potential sponsors that would jump on? Have you got people who would pay for your subscription to the membership site you're setting up? Have you got people who would like to have the free version and the paid version of what you do? So the free version is like an iceberg. On the top of it, you're going like, that's the free bit. This is what you can get, la 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 la. But underneath, whoa, that's the stuff you pay for. Like, for instance, I broadcast to you every day and I give you loads of really good insights, but I don't do it with you as I would do with the Industry Icon program. If you really want to do it properly, you contact me directly. Or if you want to learn on your own, you go to Speak on Stage and have a look at the website there, get the modules and learn on your own so you can go raw and pretend to be the world's worst lion. Lion King. Have you seen that? Lion King. I can't even describe Lion King. If you've seen it, then you're going, Dave, you can't describe it. Well, you can. There's a guy who owns a load of lions and tigers and bears, oh my, and he's in, I've run out. I don't even know where to, just the tip of the iceberg of how bonkers it gets. And the way it goes left, right, left, right, left, and it zooms like that. Literally watching every episode is crazy. There's a massive phenomenon when we went into lockdown and he became an incredible star and then went to prison. Or went to prison before he became an incredible star. One of the two. Okay, so who's paying for all this? That's question number 4. And how are you going to monetize it as well? How are you going to make money to be able to do stuff, to put it back in, to do stuff? Okay, so there's a business model around it. Number 5, what's the frequency you're going to do it? Once a week? Maybe? Once a day? Maybe? Gary Vaynerchuk says you should put out 100 different pieces of content every day. 100 across all platforms. Why? Because everyone's doing the same thing, and at least you'll stand a fighting chance of your name showing up. And if your name shows up, they see you as authority. If you're good enough, even the cake burning welding man, he will be an authority to all the people who want to do incredible damage to small, tasty confectionery. So you need to find your niche, because otherwise people will cram themselves into it. And now we're in a global market, you want to show up. So frequency is important. I do a show once a day for about an hour or so, and then what I do is a couple of times during the day I'll just share it again so people can see it, and I put it on different platforms as well. Number 6, what is your brand congruent with this? So when you look up Google Dave Crane, do it now. No, don't do it now because you lose the show. Do it afterwards. Google Dave Crane. People look at my profile and they go, oh yeah, he does know what he's talking about. He does this for a living. Yeah, I do it for a living. He's done this before. Yeah, I've done it before. Why is he arguing with himself? I'm not arguing, I'm just reinforcing my own echo. So therefore, when people look for you, you need to make sure that they land on something that proves you are who you are. So Mr. Cake Welder, they say, oh yeah, but what's he do for a living? Oh, he's a nurse. I'm not going to that hospital. But supposing he wasn't a nurse, supposing he was a welder, and he also owned a cake shop. Granted, you might not go and contact him for either, but at least the proof is there. That's what he does. Number 7, and if people can't see if there's a link, they won't do anything with you, which is why it's so important to not do exactly as Tim Ferris said. Don't spend your time putting out clickbait and worry about the likes and the loves and all that. That's all rubbish. It's interesting and it can get you interested, but the vanity metrics are, am I converting it into business? Am I growing my marketing so people then do business with me? That's all. I could have tons and tons and tons of people loving everything I do, but it won't have anything to do with presentation skills and public speaking, and it would just be stuff about other things that people find exciting. But it wouldn't turn into any money, and I wouldn't be able to convert. And I also wouldn't... thing is, you're watching this show, and hopefully you're enjoying the show. If you didn't enjoy the show, and you didn't enjoy me, and you had no interest in the stuff, then I don't really want you wasting time on this show. And you wouldn't do. You'd go somewhere else. So therefore, because it's very specific, and because I'm very small in this little box here, hello, then I know that people are here because they want to spend quality time with the stuff that I'm going to share. See what I mean? No? You should do. Okay, number 7, who can help you, or what can help you? Which platforms are the best ways to do it? Who do you know that can connect with you? Do a podcast with you, do some interviews for you, or do some interviews so you can put them on your platform. So think about it. You don't have to be a solo project on your own. I'm going to be adding incredible interviews to this show in the coming days. I am. I've already started talking to people saying, hello. Well, nobody does that anymore, do they? Zoom. Hi. I'm Dave. Where are you going? Dave Crane. The internet's already good. Hi, I'm Dave Crane. Can you please look at me when I'm talking to you? Yeah, Dave Crane, I'd like to interview you. Can we do it in a couple of days? Can we do it live on my show? Great, thank you. Bye. Money in the bank. No, you don't pay for them. It's an exchange. However, one of my dear friends, Les Brown, the famous Les Brown, I remember I wanted to get him on my show for the Toilet Paper Diaries a little while ago, and he's like, yeah, I'll happily do it. I'd love to do it. When can we do it? And I said, great, let's sort something out. And I had to go, ka-ching! And I went, we'll leave it. We'll just chat instead. So what's your unique angle or niche? Why are people coming to you? What do you provide that they can't get from anywhere else? What is it? And the smaller you make it, like Tim Ferris was saying, the tinier you make the angle of what it is that you provide, and we can't get it from anywhere else, you might only have 1,000 people, but those 1,000 people will die for you. They won't die for you, but they'll really support you and help you, and they want to be there because they enjoy your company, they believe in you, they believe in the thing, and they also think that they want to spread the word so more people like that thing. So can you imagine a load of spot welders walking down the street with a cake, going like, ha 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 ha, I'm really burning my hand! Number 9, what's the best delivery method? Not for the cake, for your content. What platform or platforms will it best work on? Usually if you're posting on one, then change it and do it on another one. The things that you tend to put on one channel don't translate. So for instance, I tend to go to LinkedIn first, which makes it really boring and straight. It's like Facebook wearing a suit. So I'll do it on there first, and then after that, I'll reposition it and put it onto maybe Instagram, and as I post it, then it goes onto Facebook and blah, blah, blah. So think about it, it's got to be different angles of the same thing. We will in a future episode go through Gary Vaynerchuk's list. It's got a brilliant PDF, you can look for it now, on how to produce 64 pieces of content per day. It now says 100 a day, but the old one was a PDF. It's wonderful. I'll decipher it, because if you start reading it on your own and you don't know what you're talking about, you'll just go, Mom, my head hurts. I feel so inadequate. So that's it. Number 10, feedback loops and analytics. You need to know whether it's working or not. You need to talk to people and also look at the stats. How many people came for that article? How many people came for the article before? How many people came for the one that you did before that? Which was the most popular? What kind of people came? Did they comment? At what point did they comment? What did they like? Did they like a video? Did they like to see stuff written? Did they like the podcast? Did they leave your site to do the call to action that you gave them afterwards? With the call to action, did they buy something from your site when they got there? Or did they just look at it? Did you check to see where they came from and at what time of day you should have been posting? Do you see the demographics of the person that's buying it? Do you know from that the kind of people that buy your stuff as opposed to people who have no interest in it because you talk too fast? All the above are important. So when you work out exactly how to put it all together, that's how you start making your content. So obvious. So now, if you'd like to be able to do this on a fast track, it's very simple. All you have to do is go to speakonstage.com. I've got my industry icon program, and I've also got another ton of modules. Now, the modules are all about different things. So the modules are all about how to get over fear of public speaking, how to create killer content, which is stuff I didn't actually tell you how to make the actual content, just stuff to think about. It's got stuff for your mindset. It's got stuff for working a boardroom. It's got stuff for doing incredible presentations. It's got stuff on how to manipulate an audience so you can have them in the palm of your hand, like that, which turns into. So all those things are there. They're only $97 each, and there's 10 modules, and the whole thing comes to if you get the whole lot, it's $997, under $1,000 to learn everything, and there's more coming because next up with that will be adding digital stagecraft. But if you can't wait, say, Dave, I love the stuff you do every single day, but I want to meet you. I want to work with you. I know you know your stuff. Look at what you've done for you. Can you do that for me as well? The answer is yes, 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 and yes. Or maybe another yes, or maybe one less. I'm not sure. But I will see it on a replay. But you have to contact me. Go to speakonstage.com. Look at the bit that says industry icon. Click on that, and you'll get a Calendly link for 10 minutes. It doesn't show up for 10 minutes. You can book a 10-minute consultation with me. We'll have a chat to see how we can get you to the finishing line and across it. Okay? And it's only open for speakers. If you want to be a speaker or an entrepreneur, I don't mind helping people grow their business at the same time, or give you the ability to be a speaker if you're not one before. But don't come to me and say, Dave, can you look at my CV? Or Dave, I'm looking for a job. There's nothing wrong with that, but not on that particular thing. And I will do an episode all about finding a job in the future. Okay? I'm not forgotten about it. And we'll cover your CV. We'll cover interview techniques. It's all part of speaking and presentation skills. Because I think it's the one skill that most people are terrible at. And 9 out of 10 people have a massive fear of public speaking as well. So that's kind of why they don't do it very well. Does that make sense to you? Yes, Dave. No, Dave. We'll stick with the original. Just a yes, Dave. Okay, well, that's kind of cool. I'm glad you're with me. And we're going to do some more stuff next. So that's about it for today's show. Hope you enjoyed it so far. It was all about how to get your head in the space. And I didn't teach you how to be a late night talk show host because that will be a separate show. What I wanted to show you is how they formulate their content. If you put in perspective, if you're a late night talk show host, what you're thinking about all the time is, what does my audience want? What's been going on around? How can I translate it in a funny way that makes people feel better? And if I do that, where can I put it as a platform so people will want it? YouTube, my website, other distribution channels, can I chop up and use it on social media? So you see all the things that are going through. That's what we talked about today. Whether you're a late night talk show host, a cake welder, or any particular job, you do have a niche, you do have an audience, and when you consider how you put it all together, then those people will gravitate towards you and they want to do more with you. And that you can monetize. And why is that so important? Well, it's very important right now because the truth is, if you don't use this as part of your marketing mix, you're missing out on a ton of things, and also you'll find that people will not go to you, will go to somebody who's inferior than you, or inferior to you, not from you. And you'll be going, If you go, that's probably why I'm not coming to you. You could say, I can do that. Why aren't people coming to me? And they'll probably turn around and say, well, because this person was first. And they weren't. You were first, but you didn't do anything about it. True? Good. Right, tomorrow another amazing show. Make sure you leave your comments. I love your thoughts. Like and share every single episode. It's kind of important because when people see it, then they go, Dave Crane, must watch his show. And the algorithms go, right, Dave's doing all right, he's cruising, get more people in. And then our tribe grows. It's one of the community, and then we all go on holiday together. We get an island, and we all live there, right? And we live there, and it's not like a Lost Island, it's more like a Paradise Island, if you know what I'm saying. And it's just going to be great. So that's the intention, that's the end game of this show. And it sounds ridiculous. It sounded okay in my head as it was starting to come out my mouth, but now I wish I'd not said it. If you're upset about people, and you're worried about people saying bad things about you, well, that's part of the deal. Your ability to go out and broadcast, your ability to be you is just what you do. If you want to make an omelette, you have to break some eggs. With that theme in mind, I'm going to share with you a video I did, one of my favorites of my own, he said, sounding arrogant. It's called Haters and Trolls. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Always love your feedback. Always love you to share it. And I love your company. It's Speak on Stage. Have an amazing day. Hi, I'm Dave Crane. Let's talk about haters and trolls. If you want to be loved, like you were at school, very simply, don't do anything with your life. Sit there quietly, don't interfere, and let the whole world pass you by. But here's a challenge. The world's not going to pass you by, because the world is going to move around you and leave you exactly where you were standing or where you were sitting. You have to move, you have to break some eggs to make an omelette, and you have to make a decision on what is your brand going to be. Will it be validated? Will you be loved? Will you get haters? Will you get trolls? You can get all the above. And when you start your business for yourself or for somebody else, it's going to take twice as long to get what you want and cost twice as much as you predict. There'll be some who like you, there'll be some who hate you, but the truth is none of that matters. All that really matters is what you think of you. You start moving, you start making a decision, and you start thinking, oh no, people are criticizing you. And the whole thing is, we got taught from a very early age to deal with people's criticism by thinking it's really valid. But it's not. It only matters if you can use it and turn your business into a more successful way to look after yourself, your friends, your family, your holidays, the people that you truly care about. Everything else is just other people's opinion. And someone decided it was a good idea to tell you how to be small. F those people. Be as big as you can be, as big as you want to be, because it's none of their darn business. You're never going to get everybody to like you. At school you didn't. But here's the thing, 50% of the person you are was probably formed in the school playground and not in the educational forum where you studied and worked really hard to get your exams. Your ability to get on with people, your ability to learn, to network, to sell, to create relationships is what's creating the you right now. Think about your fame. Think about your connections. Think about your brand. Think about some of the biggest names in the world. Doesn't matter how popular you are, there's always someone, somewhere, who hates your guts, who hates the way you talk, hates the way you walk, and hates the fact that you breathe. F them as well. You get paid for two things: the effect of a job you do, and how cheaply you can get replaced by somebody else. If you want to be found, you've got to create a brand. If you want to get paid, you've got to start going out on a limb as an artist and creating stuff that nobody else is creating in the market. And if you want to be loved, get a dog. You get one go at this life. Get off your ass, go out, break some eggs, and make the best omelette possible. Want more help? I'll be out there with you. That's my guarantee to you.